Welcome, welcome. Listen, I gotta let y'all see my shirt today. Being an adult. Because let me tell y'all, everything that could have ever happened to me today happened. As you know, I'm a third grade teacher. We started back to school on Monday. And today I woke up and it was just like everything was going in like fast motion. I feel like I was on Fast and Furious. Like just getting to school, just everything that was happening while we were at school, all the updates and all the information that was coming at us. I lost my phone in the midst of it. My computer crashed and I was doing about 85 getting home. And it might have been because I was reading this book for about the third time. So I'm gonna blame it on my special guest. I'm gonna blame it on her. Because listen, ever since I got my hands on our special guest book, it has literally like made me relive my 90s days when I was carefree, when I was in my, well, let me see, I'm in 80s. I was in my 30s. So I even go back to like the end of the 80s, going into the 90s when it was like everything that was happening in Columbus was just fly. We were fly, the men were fly, the clubs was fly. And it was just the whole aura of this book. It was saucy. So the first time I read, I think I read it so fast that I kind of missed all these parts. And then I had to, when I read it the second time, I started to kind of like settle in. Because you know how you read a book and you just like, okay, I want to read it so fast that you really don't. You miss key things and key characters and the plot. So I had to go back and read it again. And then Kels was up here reading again for the third time. So I'm right in the middle where some stuff gets, ooh, it gets saucy. And today, I was fast and furious today behind this book. So listen, I just want to say congratulations to you, Elishelle. Me and her mom, we grew up together. I've seen them grow up from little girls because they are the same age as my daughter, and they are beautiful women. So first of all, that's why I read the book the first time so fast because I couldn't believe. I was like, what? Woo, she ain't no woman no more. Woo, 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 woo. Man, this is like when I say urban fiction, but I'll even put you up there with Zane and
I love
Victoria, what's her name? Vicky Stringer. Oh. Just that magnitude of the characters. They make them relatable, but they like make you just move in and they embrace you and you can, just think about the book and think about things that happen in your life and places that you've been. So I could talk about this book forever. So we got to get down to the interview. So listen, this is the Sports and Wine Talk Show. I know there's a lot of sports going on. We got Cobra raging. So that's why you need to get this book after this interview is over. We got to get that book. But I had to put this out here for the book readers because we get into September. She already got her book. She got her hard copies in. And book readers, they always start with Oprah, her book reader club. It starts in September. So we had to go ahead and get our new release, Amazon and author out here so that you can know what she's all about. We're going to talk about the book and we're just going to get down to business. So my special guest today on the Sports and Wines Talk Show is author Elishelle. Welcome. Welcome, sister. How you feeling today?
How are you?
I'm good. I told you it's fast and furious, but I'm here. We on and we live and well.
You got to be an adult today. I see it has to be said and done and reminded. I like that. Every day we got to do it, huh? Every day
we got to do it. See, that's why I said I had to put my shirt. Be an adult today. Because today we were saucy today. That book is saucy, so we had to be an adult. This is for an adult conversation today. Adult conversation. So I just want to ask this question. What have you been doing besides writing a book just to keep the family and even your mental wellness and just everything going on with the COVID? So what have you been doing during this COVID pandemic?
It's been really hard for me. I've been with my kids 24/7. I'm a stay-at-home mom / a caregiver. So I just been here with kids nonstop. When the school was in, it was so hard. But we made it through, thank God, because I was like, I can't do this, but I did it. I'm the mama, so I did it. But, it's really hard for me to create in this kind of environment. like being isolated and introverted, because I'm extroverted, and that's how I create. I create.
Amen. We know.
Seeing things. So I had to find another way to be creative and not lose that creativity. So what I started doing, honestly, is honestly, what people don't know is I create from a darker place. Like
Okay.
when I get into a depression or anxiety, I use it towards creativity. So whenever I
Wow.
come out of that, I'm like, okay, it's time to type. It's time to write something down, because that's where my creative bubble is while I'm in this kind of space of being isolated.
Okay.
So the dark space helps come out the light of the creativity for me. So once I'm done being pitiful and all that stuff, I get up and I'm like, it's time to write something. It's time to add something to a book. It's time to do something, because now I know I got it in there somewhere. So weird as it is, that's how it kind of works for me.
Wow. What? And I see you have your sister with you, so she can read over here and say, hey. And again, just to see them all have grown up. But this tells a little bit about who is E. Lachelle. And give us your, whatever I can say the government name, but just give us your real name and your author name, and just tell us, who is E. Lachelle? Like, who is she?
E. Lachey. I'm Erica. Erica Hampton is my government. E. Lachey is the author name. E. Lachey is someone who always liked it to be creative. It was never new. I always used to love to do choreographed dance, and I wanted to be the main person to make the dance up. And then when I turned 12, I started writing journals. So I still have journals from 2001 to this day that I kept. I've always written in them. So it was only right that when my cousin made a publishing company, and she was like, "You want to write a book?" And I was like, "It was only right." I mean, because I got
right.
journal, and I love being creative. I love to dance, and all that goes into the same part of the brain. So I'd be like, "Okay, I can write." So that's where E. Lachey comes from. She has I'm wild and crazy. I don't mind saying things. And so it all works out in the end. When it comes, I can create fictional characters.
So do you see E. Lachey in some of your creativity? Do you see yourself in some of your characters?
I do. Actually, in this, the main character, I definitely see myself in her. She is, once again, I didn't put the detail of her just yet, but I can definitely see me at 25 and younger being reckless, like is just thinking I was invincible, nothing would happen, and if I say it out loud, it is bad. It wasn't nothing bad happened. So I definitely can relate to her. Like if I say, "Oh, I'm doing this bad," it would never come and bite me. So her recklessness is definitely something I can relate to when I was younger. Like, oh yeah, we be a little reckless.
Yeah, and you don't even think about it until you kind of see a character that kind of mimics your past, and and that's even for myself. I think about my 20s and even my 30s. The characters were so relatable to me, because we didn't look at more of the recklessness. It was more of that us being free spirited, because a lot of us come from homes that had a strong presence, a strong mother, and we didn't want them to really see, like, they called the alter, we called it the alter ego back then, but now they just call it their sexuality. But for us, it was like that alter ego. So we didn't want that disappointment or not knowing what we were doing, sometimes out in the club, in the street. So when I read that book the second time, I was like, wow, like just some of the things that we didn't think about that consequence. We thought about the consequence. Now it's like more where it's like, okay, they're embracing that consequence, where we were like,
no, please don't let this get out.
like, please don't let this get out. Like, please don't let this get out. And you better not let your mom find out. So that's where I said that main character, and even all the supporting characters, it was like friends that I kicked it with, and what we did when we went together, and just all those relationships and all those emotions. So we get ahead of it. So we gotta jump back. I said, I'm taking over. Like,
no, you're good. I love you. I say you're blessed with that.
I'll tell you. So with the start of this book, what inspired you? Like, what inspired you to write the book, and why now? Like, it's COVID pandemic. What inspired you to write?
What started me to write it now is I am a social media junkie. That's what I call it. I'm on there all the time. And I started really seeing, like you said, in our, when we were younger, even me, I'm in a different era than you, but even me, we were ashamed and we didn't want people to find out about our wildness. We, like you said, we created a whole different person to be that person. You know what I'm saying? So whatever it took. So for them now to be, like you said, love it. They want everybody to know it. And it's just like, do you aware of the consequences? Because it's a glamorous life until you hit the consequences. So now it was like more than ever, I need to get a message out there to the younger women that, okay, it's fun. The sassiness, that's what you were calling it. The sassy feels wonderful and the men look good and they everywhere and you can get away with it. It's sneaky and sneaky always makes it more fun. But there is a consequence when it hits the fan, if it hits the fan. So it was like more than ever, I need to get this message out here to these young girls who like, we got nice bodies, we beautiful, men love us, their friends love us. That's really a big thing now. All their friends want me, so it's like, be careful though, because this has a consequence that can change your whole life in a snap of a finger. And you wanted to do it underway and be sneaky, but like, in the book, if they feel like exposing because they get into their emotions, then what you gonna do? Because everything is gonna go your way. You can't think that way when you're doing something so shiesty and so scandalous. You can't think that you're gonna get away with this. And sometimes as women, which I love women, with power to women, we get very arrogant and think that we're being slick and we're being quiet about it. But so it's like this book had to come out because more than I haven't been seeing. I've been seeing it being glorified to be promiscuous. So it's like, woo, be careful. There's consequences, y'all. Big ones sometimes.
and that's where you even touched on an emotion. Like you just said something. The emotion of the man. Even when we were out here, I think we took in kind of perspective like all the emotions. Where like this new generation, the men now have an emotion that is being touched on, that you touched in the book, that kind of was like, it was something new for me and refreshing to see a relationship where the man had a voice. So what was that even, why did you want the man to have a voice? Because there was a strong presence of the friends, the supporting characters of the men. There was a voice for them.
Yeah, I just wanted women to know that they hurt too. Because most of the time it is women getting cheated on and you see our emotion and how we feel and, oh my goodness, we're so hurt, but men hurt too. And they go crazy too. Like, we got movies for women. When we get hurt, we go crazy. We blowing up stuff, shooting stuff, going crazy. But rarely do you get to see that the man can do the same thing when he is hurt and he's put in a predicament of that kind of hurt where you're messing in his inner circle now. So not only are you cheating, you're playing a dangerous game with people he call his brothers. And I just wanted women to know they hurt too. They get hurt and they get crazy and they get irrational and their emotions can lead them into their feelings and their feelings can make them play a dangerous game with you. So it's just, I had to put that in there. It was like, I cannot ignore how much this is going to hurt him. I can't. I have to touch on it as much as I can. Shout out to my fiance. With that,
you touched on that emotion. Like I kind of got away from the character. That's why I wanted you to talk about the book. Don't go into too much detail because they got to get the book, but just kind of tell us like the synopsis of the book. First of all, show your book, because are your paperbacks in? Are they in now?
They are in. I ordered them. I try to order a few at a time. If they want me to physically bring it, you have to be in Columbus.
Okay.
Bring it, but the paperbacks are available on Amazon and you can still get Kindle Unlimited also. So I have paper books if you're in the Columbus, Ohio area.
Listen,
paperbacks.
Ohio area. Let me know if you want the book. I'll get it for you because I want to do a September book club. I'm putting it out there with author Elisha. We're gonna do a book club in September because by that time she should be getting ready for the second. We'll talk about that later. But I want to do a book club because I really want this book has so emotion. Like I said, it's saucy, but there's so much different raw emotions that I want to talk about with other women because I want to understand and see their thoughts of this. Because just with the Meg Stallion, the Cardi B video, it has like literally like prompts this whole revolution of conversation about sexuality and what men do and what women do and why is it different for us. And I think that book touched on it. So kind of give us a synopsis of what they're going to really enjoy about reading the book. And what's the title of the book?
The title of the book is The Mind of a Promiscuous Girl. So that should lead you into something automatically. You guys, I think, just for popular, I think they're definitely going to, saucy as you call it. They're going to enjoy the saucy. It's a different kind of saucy.
It's a different kind of saucy, huh?
I think they are going to really enjoy that flip. It's a flip. I don't want to say too much, but there's a flip there where you think things are going to go maybe one way and then they're going to go a different. So I think that's very exciting about the book. And like you said, just acknowledging the man's emotion. I think that's going to be very interesting. Because I don't think, like I said, I don't think women think men can get this mad and hurt this bad, but they are very much capable.
Yes.
So I think that's the most exciting part is the saucy parts, of course, because people love that. But definitely the flip where you think, oh, this is going to go this way. And then boop, it goes the other way.
Yes, and it went all the way the other way.
It went all the way. So, yeah, I think they're going to definitely be excited about that part. Absolutely.
We was talking about this off the air, and I want to know what parts didn't make the book. Because I started, like I said, this is my third time, everyone, my third time. And I'm telling you, every time I read it, I find another twist or another like conversation piece to the book. So, but what parts didn't make the book that you thought weren't going to work, or like characters were like, what was one character that you probably started off with but then took out? I want to know, like, what was the back? Like, you see a movie, you want to know the back part of the scenes. I want to know what's the back part of the book. Like, what parts? Like, give me some behind the scenes, some juicy details.
Behind the scenes, the back part is not introducing y'all to the main character yet. Giving her too much detail, all that. I wanted this to look like she was telling you a secret. And she was giving you a journal, secret, diary type of vibe. So I was not giving you any details about her. I haven't even touched on who she is at all. So that juiciness is and the thing about it is I didn't give a lot of her and Quan's 5-year. I didn't tell you what happened in that. So I left all the juicy details of their relationship, because right now all you know is some things are bad, some things are good, so I didn't give you full detail of their relationship and how it was for those prior years they were together before everything happened in the book. So I left out all that on purpose.
You sure did.
Because I'm going to do that for you. So yep, so that's pretty much why I left out character detail. I left out a lot of character detail, so you don't know these characters from Adam really. You're really just like, okay, but it's a method to my madness with that. So I left out character details and character story details and their backgrounds on purpose. So,
yeah. And that's where I was like but it was like, now you're talking about the journal and the writing. It was like I was listening, like I had picked up somebody's diary and read their personal thoughts. Now that I come to think of it, I think that's probably why I'm just so engrossed into it. It was like I was reading somebody's personal thoughts.
And that's
because you flip back and forth.
Yeah, I was trying to give you a feel of, because I felt like, as women in society, if I would have made it just right there, I feel like, I wouldn't have been able to make the saucy scene so saucy, because it's like, women aren't going to talk like this out loud. But if I give you her mind and what she's thinking, then she can be just as honest as she wants to be, because this is her head. She's in her head thinking, this stuff she's telling you. So it's like I was like, let's make it this way, so that way we can make that way more kinky, you know, crazy and wild.
Yeah, kinky, crazy, because it was like you was torn, like you were mad at her, then you was cool with it. Like I had all these emotions in the middle of this book. So is that what you were driving for, E. Lachey?
Right on key with that, because it was like me personally, I couldn't imagine messing with, doing what the story possibly said she did. I couldn't imagine. But then there's the side of me where it's like, well, it's just fiction. So let's go ahead and make it where, we're enjoying this a little bit. So, it definitely was an up and down roller coaster with who I am as a woman in real life and who our character is fiction. So it definitely was a lot of friction with that. Because I'm like, girl, how dare you? But then it was like, okay, well.
I know. Because like you had so much, like you said, you didn't give the character, but you gave details about. So let's talk about really quick about the boys. Like you talked, like they came out of nowhere. Like, the one character, which was the boy, was his boy. But then the other pieces, like, how was that? Was that just something where because you hung around guys? Like, how did you get that to be evolve with the boys? Like, for that to be his boys, but also the other characters that kind of came through and kind of made their own place. Yes. Like, at the table that you didn't even expect. Like, their emotions got involved.
I think it's because, yes, I hang around, especially now with my fiance, I hang around a lot of men. And so I get to see, whether I'm just being nosy and peeping from the side, like, I'm going to see what they're talking about. Their emotions. And then you start to realize, like, oh, they ain't that much different from women, I just got to pay attention to you, study you a little bit, and I'm like, really, like, I'm the type of person, you can't start off telling me a story and not giving me the emotion of it, what happened. I'm like an impetus. I'm like, you got to be like, no, tell me details. I'm that type of person. So if you're going to tell me a story, you got to tell it. Like, tell me if you cried. Tell me if you wanted to punch something. So I think being around men more for the last 9 years, more than I ever have in my life, it gave me like, oh, you know what? I think I can understand men just enough to put them in this story and show how they all will react, being, friends who grew up together, and how they would feel if this happened. It's like, I think I got a little grasp, but it definitely came from being around men and being nosy and not allowing them to give me the men's story. Men be like, it hurt, I'm over it, I'm good. No. Me, I'm like, no, tell me if you cried. Tell me if you want to punch something. Did you want to shoot somebody? Like, give it all.
Be transparent. Like, men are not transparent, like you said. And the characters, especially the other supporting characters, they were transparent. So I got to feel that raw emotion as it was happening throughout the book.
Definitely.
And it wasn't just about Quan. It was more like the relationship even with them.
Yes. So I think I wanted people to see how, because, all women, if you're on social media like I am, all women be like, men are so much more dedicated to their friends than their relationships, right. So I'm thinking like, okay, what if we create a character who's dedicated to his woman, but to his friends just as much, and he can balance it. And so his friends love him just as much as differently, of course, but his woman loves him and supports him, but his friends also love him and support him, and he loves them. And it's not I'm choose y'all over her or her over y'all. We respect. So, and then you do the unthinkable, So I was like, how can we get this man emotion in here? Because I'm not a man, but I want people to know that they hurt, they feel angry, and they might get more angry than us.
And that was shocking, the part that you really touched on. They were more angry. And something like you said, we as women, we don't think our men love us. And I've been guilty of that, but it's the way they love. So sometimes, like you said, in the book, you took the character and you kind of made it where she thought something else, when really it was just, like I said, our thought process, our space, where he really did, because you saw it as it played out, that it was he did love her, but she didn't know that through the journal writing.
It was like I try to make it where this time, because usually it's always the woman so trusting into her man and believe in him. And I just wanted to be like, this time we're going to make it where this man is so trusting of his woman.
Oh.
He never would think twice, you know. So it was like, you know, I just wanted to flip it just for once, you know, but still keep her a woman and beating herself up, but at the same time make the man like, I show my emotion, I love her, I care about her, I trust her, you know. So I definitely was trying to people pull you on in with that.
And you pulled us in like, listen, you took the figure, you were like, you wrote it in. So that kind of like moves us along where we're talking about the book, and it's like, man, like, did the characters, as you finished up the book and it was like getting ready to go to publishing, did the book make you feel the care? Did you, what do I want to say, like the characters more, or did you like them less? Like, you know, do you understand the characters a little bit more now? Like, I have so many questions. Like, that's why I'm over here like.
That's the way. No, you know what's crazy is I didn't even have any. I had my book dropped July 28th. I didn't have any names for any of my characters on July 25th because I did not want to give them any names because I was trying to keep it very much diary like. So I didn't want to give, but my, you know, my publisher and our editor was like, absolutely not. You got to give some names or they're going to get confused with conversation. So I was okay.
Right.
So I added some names and it was easier than I thought, but then it made me not like none of the characters. They're so reckless. So I don't like any of them right now. Only because I haven't explained to you their backgrounds and shit. I do not like any of the characters. They're so reckless.
Okay.
And right now, only character I like is the one, I don't know if you remember him, but he was Roy. He's the only character I like because he was the one who kind of played in the middle. And he made the most sense to me, but he's not even a main character. But
he's the one that got on my nerve.
I don't like nobody. And Quan, I did like him at first, but I changed him to something different. So now I don't like any of them anymore. They're so reckless.
So do you understand the characters more now that you finished the book and now that you had to put those, and that's so, you know, different, because when I listen to other authors and I listen to what they're talking about when they're creating their book, some authors give names first and then they build the character. So it's different to hear that you are like 3 days before publication, you're now giving a name to the voice, to that character. So do you understand those characters a little bit better now as you go into your next, you know, into the next journey?
I absolutely do. The main character, even though I don't like her recklessness, she is still my favorite character. Just because now that I'm finished with the first one, I can definitely give you guys details more about her life and where she comes from and why she is so reckless the way she is and how she don't think. And I'm going to give you guys a background of her. So she's still my favorite, even though I don't like her right now. But yeah, still my favorite. But Quan, you know, the rest of them, yes, it definitely made it easier to give them detail and like, you know, and be like, you know what, I know what I'm going to do with you, and I know what I'm going to do with you, and I'm not going to do with you. So it's like, you know, I hope y'all ready for this one, because now I know what I'm doing with everybody. Everybody's, I know their backstories that I want to give them.
Okay.
So you guys are for a treat for part 2. Is going to be something.
I cannot wait. And now my favorite character was Quan. At first, it was her, the main character. It was the girl. But for me, it ended up being Quan. It was like I got engrossed into him because I started to feel like I hurt and like this emotion I never felt. Like, why am I so emotional about his? Because I mean, he like, if you would have been so passive, she would have did all this. But then I started to really realize, like, sometimes we, as like you said, a woman, we always assume that our man don't love us and our man don't really care, and he did, but in his way, and she misconstrued everything. She took it so out of content, and even how it unfolded, it was like, wow. And so when it left at the end, I was like, I felt that emotion, like, wow, like just one thing can just turn somebody into a whole different person.
He was such a calm, sweet person, you know, and it was like, once again, that's why I was like, as women, we cannot be arrogant enough to think that they can't be irrational and dangerous if they are hurt too. Because I feel like I said, women always get that excuse to be like, I'm gonna kill him, I'm gonna hurt him, I'm gonna tear his clothes, but it's like, you know, they feel that emotion too when we hurt them, you know. So it's like, I can understand. Quan was definitely my my favorite at first. At first, because
Yes.
he's doing him back.
I got another one. I got another question kind of like off the grid, but what was your favorite part of the story? What was your favorite part of the story?
I'm going to be very extremely honest. My favorite part is the saucy scenes. Favorite part. What? Very favorite part of that is the saucy scenes.
Man, I was like this. I had to go that initial shot like.
Just because I know that it's going to throw even the most, like if you are a traditional person, that is going to throw you clean off. Like, wait a minute, people do this type of stuff, So, and then even if you're not the most traditional and you do engage in different kind of ways, it still have you like, but how did you come up, So the saucy scenes are my favorite, just from making them, just be thinking of people who are like traditional, who like, right. Who's doing this? So that's my favorite part of the book. Honestly, that is hands down my favorite parts of the book. Just because it's like I know it'd be having like I know it made a couple people close it and have to come back later.
I'm telling you. That's why I was fast and furious today because I had to open it and close it, and I looked around was like, it's almost 1:30 in the morning. Like, you know what? I'm about to take Erica. Like, you didn't mess me up again, girl. But I was like, oh my God. And even just the end, like that one part. Listen, viewers, when you get to like almost the last 24 pages, put your seatbelt on. You got to buckle up. Because it took my adrenaline like to a whole nother height. So I've been reading your reviews, and how was that being to see your book on Amazon? Like Amazon, on Amazon and seeing all the reviews that are coming in, they're so positive, and they're like, where's the second one at? Like what's that doing to you, like your emotion? Because is that what you wanted to do when you was writing the book? Like, tell it, because I want to,
I have been writing and working on this book for so long. It became like I was never going to reach it or put it out there. It was starting to be like I'm wasting my time with this darn book because I'm not going to put it out because I was scared, fear, all that plays in your creativity out there. And so I was like, there's no way this book is going to do good. People are going to be judgmental before they get the message. So I was just going through a lot of self-loathing, I guess, as you could put it. But when it did, get published and it got put on, I was like, oh my God. And the support. And then people was reading, and then people like, I can't wait. Like, what? Oh my God. So it's like unreal. It is unreal. And I don't take any of it for granted. Not even a little. Because the place that I was in before I put it out was just like so bad that it was like, it's beautiful. It makes me smile. It gives me hope. It makes me want to keep going. It makes me want to make it more juicier and darker and crazier and keep y'all more. And so it's like, it just really motivated me to keep going. Because that first book was like, that book is like a year in the making. And it's just, I kept procrastinating. I signed this contract a long time ago. She was so patient with me, thank goodness, because it was like, I kept letting fear set me back. Like, no, I can't put this out. I'm on my social media as a Black Power activist. So putting this out, people might get the message wrong, which this book still goes into that with the message I'm trying to give. So it's just so beautiful when everybody, like you and people get the message. They're like, I get it. Being promiscuous can cause, being promiscuous can cause consequences. I understand it now. So it's beautiful to see this. It's unreal. I'm still out. It's out and they like it.
Yes, we like it. We love it. So if you were just coming on, this is the Sports and Wine Chalk Talk Show. I just want to say thank you for tuning in for our 1 o'clock hour. We always talk about sports, but I always like to talk about the community. I am a community activist, and I'm a teacher, a parent, a mother, a grandmother, but I love to be able to pull, other authors and community athletes and just others that are not, that people really don't get to know. And I think with COVID, I always keep saying this time has allowed for us to have a space to just be able to be open, to be able to just find out who is like some like your these hidden talents, as I call them, that no one really even knew about. And I know it's a health pandemic that's out here, but it also has allowed everyone to kind of just be creative, like you said before the beginning of the show, to be creative, to really kind of take over your fears. Because I was the same way of like, is anybody going to like with my show? And I know it's virtual. I'm used to being on the air. Like like you said, you have those thoughts and you're scared, and COVID has really allowed us to be just united and just allow you to just speak your truth. And again, reading this, you just be like, oh my God, because there's so much that's out there. And I just felt that it was meant to come because, again, there was a message behind the book. And again, about consequences. And I think we are losing that consequence factor.
We are.
That, for men and women, there's no consequences at all.
And I'm like, this book, I just really wanted to reach people. And I really want them to understand, like, nobody controls your thoughts, your life. You're free to do whatever you want. Nobody can stop you. Nobody can judge you. But just please remember there's good consequences, and then those are bad ones, and then it's the consequences that tear your whole life up. So, this is all I want us to remember. Do whatever you want. Live life to the fullest. Life is short, but at the same time, just remember that tomorrow, you want tomorrow to come, and you want it to come without those consequences that can't be undone.
Yeah.
So, you want it to come and live
undone. So can we get like a little tidbit? I know you gave a little bit of nuggets throughout the show. So where can they find your book at, and when will part 2 come out?
Okay, guys. So you can always get on Amazon. You can get paperback. So you just can switch it to paperback and get that delivered to you. Or you can switch it to Kindle, and you can get Kindle Unlimited. If you already have Kindle Unlimited, you can just get the book right away. You can pay $1.99 or 99 cents for, if you don't have one and you need to just get one, a copy online, you can get that too without having a Kindle. And then I have paperbacks. If you're in Columbus, Ohio, they're signed. So if you want one of those, you always can inbox me and I'll let you know details from there. I get those in, like I said, I don't order a lot of them, but I plan on ordering more and more and more as time goes on. And part 2, I am hoping for a end of August, beginning of a September release. So I'm not going to let you make you long. It was a short story. So I'm like, I got to get the other one out.
Yes, it's going to be juicy.
It's still going to be a short story, but it's going to be the longer version of short stories because I want to get those character details in there this time and introduce y'all to the main character because y'all got to get to know her.
Yes. Well, the way we always end our show, I just want to say, first of all, Erica, I'm so proud of you. I am just honored and blessed for you to be on the show. Keep living life. That's one of my mottos too. Live life fearlessly, because if you don't, nobody else will. You got to do it for you. And I'm just so proud to see how Evelyn's girls, we grew up. Like, you are now grown women and you out here making okay. I mean, listen, I will tell you, we could probably talk for hours because I still was like, after that initial shock, I was like, what in the world? But you had a message and it was relayed throughout the book. And I'm just saying, congratulations on your new release. I cannot wait to the next one. And I got to get my signed copy because my mom is already texting like, where's my copy at? So I got to make sure I get it. So we always end the show with with a personal thought or one of your favorite messages or just quotes that you have that you live by.
Oh, absolutely. And I just want to say thank you so much for creating this platform to give us people like us who like hidden talents, in your words, or, give us an opportunity to talk and be seen. This takes a lot of work and a lot of creativity. And I know what you do takes a lot of work. So thank you for this. This is a beautiful thing for us to do. Absolutely. And just me, just my favorite message to people is, get on your own timeline. Stop trying to keep up with other people's journeys and timelines and their walks of life. Trust me, you have your own purpose. I don't care who looks like they're 1,000 feet ahead of you. and you're like, why not me? Why me? Stop asking that question. Trust me. You have your own purpose, your own walk. God was not, he was not having a bad day when he created you at all. You have a purpose, and don't let other people's timelines, and because you don't know what they had to go through to get what they have. So just always stay moving forward, and remember, he was not having a bad day. You just have a different purpose, and some purposes take longer to get to than others, and that's just that. So that's my favorite too.
Wow. Again, I won't come back from that. Erica, we gonna come back from that. And that's all it is. And that's all it is that word journey that you keep saying is what I found 4 years ago was that word journey. And everybody has their own journey. And sometimes society and social media makes you think that you're going to be on everybody's timeline and in their space, and you forget about your own because you still be trying to play catch up and try to follow the next person that you don't even get to create your own happiness and your own wonderful whatever that is because you lose sight of your own journey.
I think because society says you're grown at 18 and you drink by 21, you better have your life together by the time you're 30. And then when you hit 31 or 32, 33 or older, you're like, I don't have my life together the way I thought. You're beating yourself up, and now you're trying to figure out how to do it somebody else's way. And it's like, that's just not time. The time, it's a journey, guys, not a sprint. It's not a sprint. It's not a race.
No, it's not.
Timing and seasons are so important. Timing and seasons, because I feel like if I released this book any earlier, it would have not had the same impact.
I agree. Just like even launching my show, I think about now, like, oh my God, if I did this when I was in my 20s, but I think about, like, no, it wasn't your season. Like those seeds that you were sowing, it wasn't time. It just wasn't time. And so I just think that everybody has a season, and when it comes, everything that you work for, you will see it all mature. And you know, like those, even like our mamas used to tell us, time is wasting. Why waste it? Do something positive for you, because that's who you're working for you.
For you, and that's it. And I'm like, it gets more simpler once you realize, like, wait a minute, so I don't have to rush. I don't have to be like everybody else. Like, I don't have to fit in this box. Absolutely not. No. It is like, like now look how much wisdom you've given everyone from your empowerment groups, your bullying group. It just takes time. You had to go through some stuff so you can be transparent and be open enough to talk to somebody about this stuff. Because if you don't really know what somebody's going through, you'd be like, I don't know what you're going through. I'm sorry, but you go through it a little bit and you'd be like, you know what? I think I got you.
Yes, and that's what it is. Woo! Your book talks about all those. So listen, I need for y'all to get out here. Show that book one more time, Author E. Lachey. It is on Amazon. Give us the title and give us the title.
Mind of a Promiscuous Girl, E. Lachey. So it's E.LASHAE. And just the mind of promiscuous girl. And this is how the cover looks. So when it pops up, it's a urban fiction, short story, erotic, The synopsis will be available on there too if you want to read it a little bit before you go dead into it. So guys, go cop that. So when part 2 comes, I'll have a page open so we can discuss.
Yes.
We can discuss it right
in September. We're going to get together, me and Ms. E. Lachey. We're going to get together. We're going to get a book club so that when you get this book, we're going to set it up so we want to talk about it, because there's so many relatable but conversations that we can talk about and have these open dialogue, and everybody will have have their own conversation. And I want to know what you felt at this point. So again, cop that book, get it, because I'm already on 3rd time reading it. I'm right in the middle where it starts getting saucy. But again, the characters, I'm starting to really know who the characters are. So thank you again for coming on the Sports and Wine Chalk Talk show. And listen, this weekend, if you are out and you're in the Columbus area, She Black Columbus, we are about to black out Columbus. I'm going to get some books and things. I'm going to get some marketing materials from E. Lachey so we can have on the table. But empower our youth. We are a voice against bullying. And again, a lot of us, most school districts are virtual, and we're going back to school, but we're going virtual. So cyberbullying, please, parents, just make sure that you are being aware of what's happening. I know a lot of things we're trying to take care of jobs and our household and income. Please do not forget about your babies. I know it's easier to do because they're fine, they're on the internet. Listen, cyberbullying is spiking. And we need to make sure that we are aware of what different sites that we are. Erica has she has a Facebook group. Can you tell us what your Facebook group and where they can find you also?
My Facebook group is Knowledge is Power. It's a very open page. I don't try to make it about one thing. I try to make it open conversation and everything, but I definitely try to empower us about learning where we come from, who we are, just keeping us, just making sure we understand our history and where we come from. I like to stay up on politics. I'm not very political, but I understand the importance of it. But so it's more just like an open conversation. But I got older people from middle age all over. So if you ask a question, somebody's going to answer it.
Right.
Somebody's going to have some information about it. It's all people from everywhere. And I try to keep it as open as possible, non-judgment. Whatever you want to talk about, and definitely promote your businesses in there. Promote your businesses.
And that knowledge of power, I've learned a lot from what you said, from the younger generation of what they're thinking, even to our older generation like myself. I'm moving into the older generation. And again, this weekend, Saturday, August the 15th, from 12 to 5, She Black Columbus event is happening at 2323 Lake Club Drive. It is over about 100 vendors. We are going to be out. Yes, we'll be social distancing. We'll make sure you have your mask. Empower Our Youth will be hosting 2 fashion shows. Again, we have some fabulous fashion designers. We have Indonesia Williams. We have, yes, She's Black Couture. We have Creative Bliss, which is by Toby Chamberlain. And we have Empower Our Youth. We are going to be out. We're going to be bringing positivity, empowerment, inspiring. Our Empower Youth fashion show is now virtual. It's a week-long celebration. Again, it's bringing empowerment, inspiring, as well as educating our families and our youth about standing up, being a voice against bullying, and just providing some tips. We are a free service, so if you are experiencing bullying of any nature, any form, please contact myself or Tracy Kane. You can find us all over Facebook and social media, Instagram, Twitter. And again, my phone number is 614-928-0016. I know what it is and how that feeling is when your child is being bullied, but let's have a plan, let's have a purpose, and let's prepare. That's what I call the 3 Ps. And these 3 Ps will allow you to have a voice and advocate the correct way for your school, for your child, as well as in the community, so that you can find a resolution. So again, this is Sports Kels Diva, Sports and Wine Talk Show, signing off. I know COVID, please be safe. Wash your hands, your mask. Make sure you join Teacher in the Community. Join Knowledge is Power. Empower Our Youth. We are local businesses in the community who are providing and engaging a service that will be helpful not only to families, but to our youth. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you. See you guys.
Okay, hold on.